Hello and welcome to A Podcast Has a Name. I'm Saul.
And this is Alec.
And we watched episode 2, Storm Braun.
Yep.
Braun wasn't even in this episode. I don't know why they named it
that
after
was really weird.
Yeah. What do you think the symbology is there?
I think Jamie misses his storming relationship with Braun, and that's really what it's all about.
I think you're right. I think he misses his stormy eyes and how things just seem to get a little better when Braun is around. So before we get into this episode, I want to talk a little bit about why I hate the show so much. So when I first listened to the books, it was between season 3 and 4. And so it was pretty much like I needed something to reassure me that the world wasn't over because the Red Wedding. I was very sad. I remember Jake and I were both like, what the fuck gonna happened? It was rough.
Remember me and Eisner were being smug because we knew.
Yeah, you guys are douches. I remember that.
Well, we didn't spoil it.
I remember you didn't. I remember Eisner was like teasing one of his friends, like, "Oh, you better get ready for the end of season 3. They're gonna attack Casterly Rock. It's gonna be awesome." So he was like intentionally baiting his friends. So I guess thank you for not doing that. So I listened to the books, the Roy Dotrice narration, and I was dishwashing at a restaurant. And I just listened to the books over and over, like probably 4 times. You know, in the chapters I listened to a little bit more. And I so fondly remember, I remember the same night when I listened to John's chapter where Egret dies as I was driving home from work, and I was crying, and then I went skating because it was in wintertime and I was skating under the stars, and that's when I listened to Bran's chapter where he meets up with Sam, which is like a really tense, slow building, like dark ass chapter, and I was like listening to it while I was skating around the dark, and it was so cool.
Aren't they in the wall?
Yeah, they're at the Dreadfort. And so Bran's thinking about all this like creepy ass stories that old Nan told him, and you feel like you're in the heart of...
not Dreadfort, Nightfort.
Nightfort, yeah, not Dreadfort, the Nightfort, yeah. And you just kind of feel the weight of the darkness of the North around everywhere. And then it's just like, no, they're meeting up and things are good. And I love these little moments of hope that George gives us, you know, in between all of the pain, because this is at the end of the 3rd book, you know, after the Red Wedding. And the show, the way season 3 ends is like, no, this is about the Red Wedding. Like, it's sad. Things are bad and it's sad. It's not like the way the books are where, yeah, the Red Wedding happened and it's terrible, but the story goes on. It's kind of that indifference to the characters that you perceive as really important in the beginning that creates such an oppressive feeling when you're going through these books. It's the reason why Tyrion's chapters in the 5th one can have that sort of slow pace to them. Except, you know, Tyrion's not going to die because, like, certain characters are important. But, you know, like when he goes into the river, you know, you do have to wonder, like, oh man, are they really dead? Well, the first time.
And George loves the fake out deaths. I think he at one point around the Red Wedding, he has the fake out death with Arya too, where the Hound gets her with the axe. Remember?
Yeah, I do. He goes too far for sure.
Yeah.
And I was still in, my relationship with the books was kind of, George did no wrong, even though I do think that it is bad that the 4th and 5th books are meandery and aren't really about what the first 3 are about. That is a failing, but at the same time, it's not like what George spends time on is without value.
Right.
And that's where I get into it with, I think people that defend the show more, is they're like, oh, you just want what's in the books, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, no, like, there's a lot of shit that needs to be shaved down. It's just that what they choose to spend their time on in the show doesn't make for good TV. And it's just, as far as actual, like, quality of filmmaking, it just gets worse.
Yeah. People will say it won't work in that format, or the POV doesn't translate well over to film. And that's true to an extent.
I mean, George set himself an impossible task when he wrote this story that just keeps branching and branching. It's no wonder he's having so much fucking trouble finishing the book, because it's impossible. And adapting a TV show where you have to go off course, where you don't have the books, is inevitably going to suffer in some parts. But just the amount of cushion that people give it to suck, it makes me turn up my snobby nose.
And George, as a writer, self-professed gardener, not architect. As the architect is the one who outlines and then builds within that framework. He likes to water his plants and just let them grow on their own. And you can definitely see that in Dorne when we get Dark Star and the Sand Snakes and Ariane.
The best characters from Dorne are Quentin's friends.
Yeah.
And they're so small part of the story, but it's they're embarrassed and are cool. They hang out.
Drink, Duck, and
Drink and Archibald Ironwood. Green Guts.
Oh man,
I don't think there's a duck in there. I think you made that up.
Duck
is on Tyrion's boat.
Oh,
he's one of the river
he's
guys.
with Jon Con?
Yeah, he's on with Jon
okay.
Con. Yeah. So, anyways, I'm talking about the setting of the book. It's so much fun because you just get a little more insight into the world, and you actually get these rules imposed on the world. Ned and Robb fucking died, and they were always being pretty damn smart, but, they obviously had their failings and moments of, fucking up. And, you get a little bit of that, commiseration with the audience when Sansa's talking about how, Ned and Robb, they were honorable and they were true, but they were, they were stupid.
Mm-hmm.
And I like that coming from Sansa, because I don't think it's totally fair to say they're stupid, but somebody who's been seeing the game from the 0.some Lannister point of view would definitely come to believe that. And
especially since she was there literally when they negotiated, and she was forced to write that note from Cersei where she told Dad, save me, and he wouldn't talk to Varys, and he wouldn't do anything, and then all of a sudden he flipped. And that was kind of a turning point for him. So, I mean, that was his way out. That was the right thing to do. For once, he was doing the right thing, and then Joffrey just tossed that off.
Yeah, no, Sansa's been through shit. She knows this shit. But in the show, these rules have all been broken. It's just for the sake of whatever's happening this week. And it's so transparent. The hierarchy of importance of characters, what they're trying to do. Nothing ever feels like this is organic, this is a world, and people are playing by those rules. Because when characters consolidate, they just become absorbed into each other. They don't actually exist as separate characters. Jaime just becomes that guy at Cersei's side. Brienne becomes that guy at Sansa's side. Sam at least has his own story, but Gilly is just that gal at Sam's side. Gilly is not growing at all. And I mean, in the books, there's not a lot of Gilly, but there's some fucking shit going on when they're on the boats. And it's just really frustrating to have it all fall apart, and yet to still be around for the show to be celebrated everything is still fine. It's kind of why I hate the show so much, and why I feel a little bit like I'm crazy when it's on and everybody's so excited about it, because I just think it's so bad.
I still find it really entertaining. And like I said on my second watch of this episode we're going to discuss, I liked it a lot better the first time I really didn't. I said it was a 4 in the car when I was leaving.
Yeah, everybody was pretty mad with it last night or 2 nights ago when we watched it.
Yeah. But all the reviews I've been watching, and I try not to watch any reviews because I don't want to just repeat what other people say. But all of them have said, this was awesome. This was one of the best episodes, or this was one of the best second episodes.
It makes me think that I'm getting our family to come over to my side and be a little more pissed off by how bad things are. I mean, I think the fight scene at the end being so hard to tell with the editing.
It reminded me of the Dark Knight, Batman Begins 2005 one, where the scenes would cut around all different angles and would just be ugh. And it was really dark. And
I don't remember that movie at all. I saw it at the time, but
yeah.
That movie kind of got eclipsed by
the other ones.
The next one.
Yeah, definitely.
Which that one, I remember I watched it like 6 times on
that,
HBO that year.
That was dank. Yeah.
Dang. But yeah. So that was a lot of me talking about my personal relationship with Sonic Ice and Fire. But
let it out. That's what we're here for.
Yeah, this is basically my therapy session for being pretentious about Game of Thrones. So yeah, let's go into the episode. The first thing that happens is
it was a dark and stormy night. When you see Dragonstone after waiting about 10 seconds for the lightning to flash. And we do watch it on a dark TV, but we just brought it up again on a screen, and it's really hard to see.
It's dark out. It's stormy. It's bookends because the episode starts with stormy and it ends with stormy because Storm Bronn.
Yeah, we'll crack that Bronn code by the end of this. We'll get to it.
Yeah, we'll find him. Maybe Bronn is secretly Varys. Have we ever seen them in the same place at the same time?
No.
Yeah, probably in season
Jamie,
2. I'm sure in season 2.
Yeah, probably at the wedding, at the purple wedding.
Was Bronn even there?
Was Jamie? Or no, Jamie was Varys.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Oh, that would have been
that was one of the scenes where like a lot of people were there.
Yeah, no, I'm sure that Varys was able to do a costume change to make it appear like Bronn was there too. So, what does Dany say? She said some weird shit about the day she was born?
Oh, yeah. Varys is spinning the tale about the night she was born, how the dogs were howling for fear of the storm because the thunder was so loud, just like this night. And he remembered it, and then Dany said, like, if only I could remember it, Lord Varys, or something like that. Basically, she's thinking about the house with the red door and how she has no home. She's complaining about how it doesn't feel like home.
I remember what my mom's vagina felt like.
Yeah, the first night.
It's like the movie Lucy, where it's like she's talking to her mom and her mom's like, what's going on with you? Like, are you on drugs? And she's like, her mind is unlocking and she remembers everything. She's like, I remember the taste of your breast milk, Mom.
What show is that?
It's this movie Lucy with Scarlett Johansson. It's a wacky movie.
I don't think I saw it.
No, I don't think so either. So Dany talks to Varys, and they go through the same bullshit that they went through when Tyrion met Dany of like, oh, you're here to help me, but how can I trust you? And Varys gives I serve the realm.
Yeah, first he called her beautiful. I heard you're beautiful. He tried many ways to... She wasn't buying his bullshit. First he said she was beautiful. Then he said that he did what he had to do. He said something else that she wasn't buying after that. He
interestingly never says that he told Jorah that she was going to be killed, you know. I guess she probably put it together because Jorah said that he would never let it happen.
Yeah. How did Jorah get busted spying on her? Was it a note from Varys?
It was, Varys sent the note, and then Barristan was like, I found this.
Hey, what's this? You want to tell me about this as a knight?
Oh, man. Barristan, talk about another character that got absorbed into a character's arc. R.I.P. Barry. Other Barry. So, yeah, and then Varys basically just serves up a different kind of bullshit for the people.
Yeah. Oh, he goes, I chose you, or I choose you.
That's a little Donald Trump going on there.
Everyone. I was trying to do more of like a Pokemon. Like, I
choose you, Totodile, to be my starter Pokemon.
Now bend the knee. But if you don't, but if I ever catch you, conspiring again, I'll burn you alive. And it's like, okay, one, Varys has a problem with that because he was burned alive, remember, by a red priest, or that was one of his Where's the magician in the box? Where's that red?
I don't remember. I can't track what's going on with Varys.
That's a dropped storyline.
They killed him the next day after he showed him. It was like, okay, now I got that all cleared up.
Being the Mad King's daughter, you would think you wouldn't want to like set people off by threatening to burn them.
I mean, I understand that he's not like, they're trying to show that she's smart and, you know, he's sketchy and she's not totally forgiving, but it's like, but she still just accepts him. Like, it's so much the illusion of something happening in this conversation where it's just like, okay, Dany is suspicious. Like, they don't know how to write her as like anything other than threatening.
I think it's just so massively unrealistic that it never would have come up, that they're getting it out of the way to the viewer, but it doesn't resolve anything. I think they're kind of saying, all right, we're acknowledging this. Now let's just forget about it. Now he's on her side. I think that it really is like, and they do that again. And there's another scene that, where there's a conflict that's brought up. I can't remember. When we get to it, I'll point it out again. But they do that again in this episode where they, instead of...
It's like, this is something that we would examine if we could write, but we're just going to talk about how it exists.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Lampshade 101.
Yeah, we know we suck at writing. We're just having the characters do monologues. There's a lot of monologues in this episode. So, Varys does his little thing. Then Dr. Melly Dre shows up.
Yep.
And she is as smug as season 2 Melly Dre.
And this is when the actress is quite pregnant. That's why she's all like bundled up like that.
Well, it's also winter time.
It is winter, and she just had a long ride in the cold.
It's very cold in the winter. Ned told me that.
Yeah.
I think that was his words. Winter, it's cold.
Winter's cold.
Yeah.
It's getting chilly.
So Melisandre's talking about Jon Snow and how hot he is. And she's like, I tried to fuck him, but he was like, nah, I'm saving myself. And I like don't know what he's saving himself for. So Dany.
Yeah. This Jon Snow sounds quite impressive, says Dany.
What's his hair like? Is he emo like my older brother? My older brother.
He is kind of.
I mean, yeah, that's what.
He's not blonde.
He got his emo from his dad. We all know.
Yeah.
And it doesn't even matter which dad you're talking about, because no matter what, it's like, yep, he got his emo from Ned. He got his emo from Rhaegar. Definitely. That's what makes him so hot. He's like hot emo and cold emo. Makes him the best kind of hot.
I'm still wondering. I don't want him to find out before he meets her. He's not going to, obviously, if he's already on his way and he's not going to see Bran, find out his dad. But I don't want it to ruin their possible relationship. 'Cause I want to see what happens if he finds out after he bangs her.
I don't give a fuck about their relationship. Oh, and we're going to get a great fucking repeat of the Varys scene next week where she has to be threatening to Jon because they don't know each other and they're sussing each other out and they're hacks. So that's going to be great. But then it'll be okay. I don't know. It feels so much like this is obviously a ship for a long time for a lot of fans. So it's like, gotta have it. Gotta build the Dany Jon. And really, it should be Sansa Dany. Why the fuck isn't Sansa being sent down? We could actually get our lesbian scene that they teased.
We almost got that pointless Yara and Yalaria love scene where it was getting kind of tense and like
she's like, I hear on the Iron Islands that you kill children, and then Yara was like, yeah, I killed a kid or two.
Yeah, and I have a salt wife or husband at every port. A boy at every port and a girl. Oh, if that's not so, now that I know you like girls, I'm gonna make a very inappropriate direct advance on you, which you like. That's kind of the Asha character would do shit like that. Although she wasn't really a lesbian, but she was definitely overtly.
I mean, we don't know.
She was
She could have been bisexual. She seemed pretty chill.
She was overtly like sexual and liked using her sexuality.
I mean, she was just one of the only characters that had sex scenes that were happy. She wasn't even necessarily that overtly sexual. It's just kind of weird because George is just like, right? It's like one of the first things we get is like a sex chapter from Asha before we really get to know her. But
George is so good at writing sex chapters from from a woman's point of view.
Well, yeah, you think that.
Oh, that's true. I mean, it's hot.
To be fair, writing sex scenes is really hard. I've tried to do it before. It's tough. You really you already have I already have a lot of trouble writing because oh my god, this isn't good, blah 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 blah. But trying to get your words to sound right when you're describing sex it's tough.
Yeah, I had in my short story, got an A on it, but from the Film Actors Guild or Screen Actors Guild, SAG, not FAG, gave me an A. No, but it was awkward. Definitely super awkward. And then even reading it myself, I'm cringing.
It's not an easy thing to do. You gotta put it out there.
You gotta set the mood.
You gotta have FPMs in there.
What's FPM?
Fat pink mask.
Oh, fat pink mask. You gotta have fat pink mask. So one episode we should talk about some of the most awkward and campy or funny writing, goofy writing in the book.
Nah, that's okay.
Well, I'm gonna bring up one per week.
Okay, great. I'm looking forward to that. So Melisandre scene happens. They talk about that. She doesn't talk about the others. This is driving me fucking crazy.
Yeah.
Ever since Hard Home happened, the entire setting has been more broken than it was before.
Yeah.
Because nobody is talking the end of days is here, guys. We've seen it.
I think she didn't want to stand behind her views and she has seen the dead in the flame, but she doesn't trust her visions anymore. So she's like, let John definitely saw it. John saw it. Bring Jon Snow.
That's an interesting interpretation. I hadn't thought of it like that.
Listen to what he says. That
Melisandre,
the things he has seen.
It's just so stupid, though. It shouldn't be get Jon Snow, he's gonna help you against the others. And, she should be very firm to Dany that, the others. Okay, you stood up to Stannis and you told him, you talked to Jon and shit. You're not afraid of putting it on the line. The lesson that she should have learned is not, I don't want to have conviction about this shit. Because she knows that bad shit is coming. She's just not been good at trying to stop it. But, in what way is imparting the importance of the situation to somebody that literally has fucking dragons and is going to be open about hearing magical shit? It's just so stupid. And the echo of that comes back later when Jon is telling the people that he needs to go. He goes, none of you have seen the White Walkers. I have. You don't know how hopeless it is. This should be what the show has been about since Hard Home. But, no, it's no. All the characters that have seen this shit are still paying attention to the rest of the bullshit that the show is for no reason.
John needs a chalkboard in that main hall, Winterfell, with all the the White Walkers, some pictures of them that he drew, dead equals evil. He
has a flip book that he made of when he fucking killed one. It's I'm badass. Listen to me.
Yeah, or a family tree of the Night King and all, and all the other White Walkers. I killed this one.
And it's we don't know where, why the family tree is, so far up here, and our family tree is down here, and there's this weird part that we don't know about. I don't know what's going on there. It's probably just the same wall there. Just had to draw it somewhere. So, yeah, that happens. Or no, well, what happens is Jon, Sansa, and Davos get the letter from Tyrion.
Yeah. First they get the Tyrion letter, then they get the Sam letter.
Yeah, Sam letter comes later.
Sam letter comes during their...
Before. It's it's the inciting incident for that speech.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So... what I like about this is it kind of plays on, I think people in the show get a little bit of what, book readers have gotten with characters just kind of so close to connecting in some way, but then it not happening. And I think that show watchers kind of get it here where Sansa's saying, no, this is not a good idea. This is not you can't trust Tyrion, even though you guys are bros.
Yeah.
And then you get it from Tyrion's point of view too, where it's just where they've ended up in life has, even though they both have this personal connection and they feel like they can trust each other, just mere circumstance is what separates them now. And I like that.
He traveled with him for a month, 6 years ago, when it comes down to it.
Yeah,
maybe 3 years ago in the book.
But he saw some of himself in him, you know.
Yeah.
And
I definitely thought they had a tight bromance, tighter than John has had with almost anyone, but probably anyone but Sam, really.
Yeah.
Maybe or Davos and John, but
Yeah,
that's different. Davos more serves John.
Davos is like looking for the Stannis rebound, and John's just like kind of too wrapped up in shit to see that Davos is the one. Is how I feel. So that happens. And Davos is still there being a bro. Like basically just Westeros' best bro at this point.
Yeah.
Like, I'll go with you.
And one of my favorite lines in the episode, which is hilarious, it's like a rock, paper, scissors line where fire burns whites. Dragons have fire. I don't need to say
just like a rock
about,
and scissors type thing.
Yeah. Yeah, like, so if we get the fire, then we can defeat the ice.
Oh.
So then dragons...
Oh, but then Qyburn invented a ballista, which can kill dragons. But then, like, ice makes ballistas not work, so it's the symbiont circle.
Yeah, I didn't expect there to be... I figured it would be more of a magic-based weapon if Qyburn was gonna come up with something.
Yeah, like, they haven't come up with this, and it's like, Qyburn, why haven't you already invented this shit if you're, like, good at this? Like, I don't understand.
And he didn't even... I mean, he probably saw it in a book, but he just read, like, an old book from the Citadel.
They've been around, Cersei just doesn't know that they exist, so he's just like, oh, I found this old battle. I invented
this. I like a big crossbow. It's really what it is.
But Cersei, I feel like she gets the kind of like, oh man, the guy working for me invented this. That means I invented it.
And I like it how he kind of pulls her behind the ballista and has her shoot it. And it reminds me of that scene with Marjorie and Jeff where he's like has a crossbow.
I hadn't thought of that.
how it feels to pull the trigger over here and see something die over there. And then she smashes Valyrian the Black Dread's skull for no reason.
That's great. I love it. 10 out of 10. The Cersei scenes are still good in the show because Cersei is just so fun. Like when she's on, like last season she wasn't really fun because she was like, or last season, the season before, because she's just like cowed the whole time, you know, like people have power over her. But when she's in charge and she's in crazy mode, it's just like, yes, give me this.
I liked that they've been doing so many season 1 callbacks like that. That was this, I believe that was the skull that Arya hid in when she heard the conspiring. And sure enough, when she's down there, Cersei's talking about conspiring.
Tyrion and Shay have fucked in there.
Yeah, talking about how Robert brought whores down there. Oh yes, I'm sure Robert loved looking at Targaryen artifacts while he was banging whores.
Maybe. I mean, Robert he was into some weird shit. Yeah. He could have been. He could have been hate fucking some. His
grandmama is Targ.
Yeah.
He was somewhere in the lineage.
Yeah, but I don't think he is very proud of that.
No.
He was probably pissed him off that they had to say that to make people okay with his rule.
He took it by conquest. That's his thing.
Yep, Bobby B, baby.
It's about this. But Cersei calls an impromptu meeting.
Yeah, I love this meeting because the throne room is so empty. She's talking shit to like 4 people. And basically just saying like, yeah, savages, they're gonna kill us, they're savages, like they're gonna murder us, they're gonna burn us with their dragons. Can you imagine that? Just like a bad queen burning people? It's bad. So, yeah. They got that coming down. And and we get to talk to Samuel Tarly's dad.
Yep.
Who Jaime needs to really corner him and be like, hey, listen, you know, aren't you xenophobic? And he's like, I am. He's right.
How about these alternative Targaryen facts? I've got a few for you right here. She's crazy.
She's crazy. Just like her dad.
She has sex with dragons.
Oh my god.
And Jaime says, oh yeah, and Jaime goes to Dick and Tarly and he says, oh, Rickard, right?
Rickard. Maybe he's just remembering when the Starks got burned.
Yeah, Maybe that was some sort of threat. It looked like Jaime was like, oh shit.
Jaime in the show, like, does he think about anything that happened in his past? Because, like, in the book, his arc is like, that girl's no good for you, man. And everything in his life is kind of pointing like, oh shit, yeah, that's bad. And in the show, it's just like, nah, Jaime's cool. He's hanging. He's a good bro.
Yeah. I mean, it would be genius if Jaime purposely did that to do a callback for the Mad King burning his lords. I don't know if that would make Cersei the Mad King, who's they're threatening to burn Dickon.
Yes. I feel like any comparison has to be Cersei as the Mad King, you know.
Meanwhile, they're saying Daenerys
she's
crazy.
And Daenerys' plan, we'll get to that, makes no sense, but yeah, we get yet another throne room scene with just very, very hideous filmmaking. I would love to have a giant room like that full of people to shoot in. Like, just the amount of cool shit you could do in a throne room to show the relationship between these people and their power, and just to evoke so much with so little, because this is a physical room where the decisions for so many in a kingdom get made. It's a lot of really cool shit, and it's just so unimaginatively just like, okay, we just point the camera. We just point the camera at the actors. And the blocking is awful. There's never any interesting relationship between where the character is to where other characters are, or like their height compared to the rest of them. The only real character breathed into the scene is comparing it to like previous throne room scenes, which have been cool, you know? And just thinking, oh wow, this is the same room where X happened. Yeah. Which, I mean, the show, that's kind of, you know, running on fumes. That's what it does.
I have a kind of a weird question about the room. So in Dany's, or just a statement really. So Cersei has put the Lannister lions up as now, so that instead of the sept, instead of the 7-star, what's it called?
The 7-sided star.
7-sided star. Instead of that, which it makes sense, and she blew up the sept and doesn't give a fuck about the sparrow movement.
God suck.
But in Dany's vision, in the House of Black and White, not House of Black and White, in the...
I know what you mean. The House of the Undying.
The House of the Undying, yep. Different house. She's in the throne room, but it still has the 7... That's all burnt down completely, but it still has a 7-pointed star. And Dany's never seen the throne room. So we have to... So if Quaithe is sending to her, or if she's seeing this objective experience that they're putting in front of her that's supposed to look like the real throne room, do you think that the...
I just think that the showrunners weren't thinking about it. I don't think it...
No, yeah.
I mean, I would, if it was a better made show, I would think about that. I wonder what it means, but I don't want to.
Maybe somebody took back over and put that back up.
I mean,
that's not going to happen.
You do get the feeling that this is just kind of Cersei's 15 minutes on the Iron Throne. She might actually be dead by the end of this season.
I put her on our pool.
On our death pool?
Death pool.
I didn't put
I haven't looked there, unfortunately. I have not looked at it this week. I know I got some points for the Sand Snakes.
Oh yeah, I don't think I said the Sand Snakes. I think I said the Brotherhood was my group pick.
Yeah, that's coming up.
I'm sure they will, yeah. So after that scene, then we go to Archmaester Ebros, whose name I just learned.
Yeah.
Examining Jorah's bod.
Yeah.
It's hot bod.
Yeah.
And Jorah's like, but my dick, does it work?
Yeah. How long do I have? Oh, you'll live like 10, 20 years. But how long do I have until my... And it's his brain. It's his brain that he's worried about. But at the time, I kind of thought he might be talking about that.
I mean, he probably is also thinking about that because he just really wants to bang Cersei. I mean, Daenerys.
Yeah.
It's one of those queens.
Yeah. But, and then the Ebros very rudely suggests that since he's a knight, an anointed knight, he'll give him another day before he ships him off to Valyria.
Very nice, man. Very nice.
I was just there.
It kind of begs the question of, like, if this is how... I mean, how they treat Grayscale, which makes complete sense, then why did they ever have him there in the first place? Like, the show kind of has this on-off button of, like, when Grayscale is scary.
Yeah. Because they should just kill the people with Grayscale so that they don't spread it. Sending them off to Valyria, like a leper colony, does make sense.
But, like, isn't it supposed to be winter? Wouldn't he just die and his boat just get crashed back into the shore, you know? Isn't it just dangerous just to be releasing that out?
Yes.
No matter what.
And so putting them far away, and I mean, that's how he caught it, going through there. And then it came back. But it makes you... They've obviously been thinking about it, and they talk about Shireen, not Ed Shireen, Shireen Baratheon, how they caught it, how they caught her Grayscale really early.
Very similar to War for the Planet of the Apes.
Yeah.
Got it from a doll.
yeah. Maester Crescent. I did think about that. I was like, oh yeah. Wow, that was sneaky.
They're just stealing his shit.
Yeah.
So, and then after that, then we get Qyburn showing off his invention, quote unquote, to Kirk. And then we get to Daenerys talking about her war plans.
Yep.
And I don't understand. She's going to not kill everybody in King's Landing, and instead she's going to besiege King's Landing, which is better.
Yeah.
Because reasons.
Her, Olenna, and the Sand Snakes, and the Greyjoys are all there.
Yeah.
So that this is their whole crew.
This is their war council.
Yeah. They all seem to have vastly different... that almost none of them have real experience in a full-size war.
There's a lot of scenes on The Song of Ice and Fire where it's like this, where there's just dumbass people that are obviously not commanders being like, we got a battle! And then the actual commander just sitting there, like, whether it's like Stannis or somebody, just like kind of rubbing their temples like, shut the fuck up.
And Olenna acts really out of character by like, you should be a dragon.
I mean, I think that Olenna wants fucking revenge. Yeah. And so she wants Dany to go into kill everybody mode. And what I really like is that they want to show that Olenna is smart, just like Tyrion is smart, but maybe even smarter. She's been around longer. And instead of showing this by like, you know, them using their intelligence and something in the setting to, you know, have a difference, it's just her saying like, don't listen to him, be a dragon. Which is like the least amount of work you can do if you want to have Olenna have a difference with Tyrion. It's so stupid. It's like, why don't you talk about in the meeting why Tyrion's plan is dumb or why she should just burn them? Like, I'm down for her telling Dany to go kill mode. Like,
Daenerys,
kill him.
Daenerys is just going to use economic pressure. And I mean, that's how the Soviet Union ultimately fell. So...
She's gonna put sanctions on King's Landing.
Yeah, then it'll just turn into a really bad oligopoly.
It's so stupid. Oligopoly?
Yeah. Or oligarchy.
I love it. I love how the plan is also like, and then we're gonna besiege them with Westerosi armies, which will be better because they won't be Dothraki. And it's also like, where are the Dothraki? Like, I haven't seen them.
No, we haven't seen them.
Where is your army?
Where are they grazing?
We don't want to show. Where are they getting food? That's. Don't even get me started on what are they
40,000 and the horses. And time has been. At least they're being like straightforward about how time is passing quickly now. So we're not to always take it literally.
Except for Euron, Sol like somehow went away to find Theon and Yara, except for didn't pass.
That's one of my questions was, where is this battle? It must be right outside
they
of Dragonstone.
It's in the Narrow Sea, but like...
Because they were heading for Dorne, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, they were heading to drop them off at Dorne.
It just doesn't make sense for like, why was Dragonstone not in the offing before this? Like you were talking about last week. Like, what?
Yeah.
Where is this taking place? How do these two boats crash? Like, aren't they both at the center of like giant armadas?
Yeah, they found each other in the storm.
What?
Yar was sailing at the front of her armada facing sideways.
Not looking.
It's
like, all right, now it's like
fooling around under deck.
She tied the rope to the wheel. It's like in Lego Batman. It's like, all right, rope's got this. I'm gonna go bang Lyria. Holy shit, rope did it. I knew it. So yeah, Dany's dumb plan is, Tyrion's being all smug and blah, 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 blah.
Yeah. But Tyrion, I think Tyrion is really trying to gain everybody's trust here when he says to take Casterly Rock. Is it even a good idea? I think taking King's Landing is probably just a better idea.
Yeah, I mean, Casterly Rock has never been important in the show.
No,
like in the book,
no Lannisters are there.
Yeah.
It'll piss Cersei off. But,
well, I mean, it might be a good thing to piss Cersei off a lot because she will do dumb shit, so it might be a good move there. But it just feels so much like Tyrion wants it for himself.
Yeah, exactly.
And, which, that's...
But you could see things floating in the top of people's mind when he said... just siege them. We don't want to be Queen of the Ashes. Which is what... It's weird that it's kind of like words are wind. Everyone uses this phrase, King of the Ashes, Queen of the Ashes. People... Littlefinger is described as would burn down everything if he could be King of the Ashes. But don't they use it on talking about something else too? I
don't know. I feel like that's probably just a common phrase back then for like, you don't want to burn this shit. You want to burn everything,
Yeah.
But yeah, I just feel like it doesn't feel real to me that dragons are really in Westeros. Well, one, we haven't even fucking seen them in West. We did see them flying around, but it's still just like
we don't know how big they are still this season.
Those scenes are so detached from like what makes the show, which is people talking in rooms.
It's like in Seinfeld, how like right beforehand they'll just show the outside of the apartment for 5 seconds.
It literally is just an establishing shot. Now the ring. So, yeah, that's dumb. Then Grey Worm and Missandei.
Oh, here we go.
Whose relationship is still in the exact same place it was when they first met, except they're banging now, so I guess that's good.
What was the extent last time? Didn't he go off to battle and they kissed beforehand?
Yeah.
Or she kissed him when he came back and it healed him?
Yeah, they were just having like weird, like, I don't know how to feel. And then they're still at the same, like, what the fuck do they talk about?
Yeah.
What? When they're alone, hanging out, like what? Who are they?
That's why he like hides from her, because he doesn't know what to talk
They're
about.
slaves. They just stand there in silence together.
Yeah.
That's them hanging out.
That's what they do during most scenes.
They're not characters. Whatever. I don't care about this. They're both real hot.
Missandei is a faceless man, and she's 11 years old in the book, so that's disgusting. She's not hot.
Oh, wow. Is she a faceless man or is she 11? Which is it?
She's an older faceless man pretending to be an 11-year-old girl.
That's a lot of kind of awful going on right there.
Faceless woman.
Then Sam starts cutting off Jorah's nipple in the next scene.
Yeah. Did you think that this was... I think this bothered me a little less than the shit. But it was still like... this is the same director,
more disgusting. Right? I don't remember.
The way he does the food and the the disgusting things, and then food, which would normally look, that slop wasn't going to look good.
That cutting is just so weird. I mean, it's like, it's so strange. Like, this happens in Breaking Bad, like in the episode where he's fixing the shit under the house, and there's like that awful brown water, and you know when he's like fixing the water heater and he's under the house and there's the awful brown water, and they cut to it dripping down to like Skylar making a cup of coffee at the office, and like I've seen this shit and it's so weird. In Game of Thrones, it's like, what are you trying to say? Or are you just trying to make the audience grossed out?
I think that, as if you're not grossed out enough by like him peeling off his skin.
And the sound effects are very clearly like skin peeling sound effects when the dude's breaking the pie. It's hilarious. It's a very humorous cut. I like it.
And we don't really know what Sam's plan is for this treatment, though, do we?
I mean, I think he's just going to do it the old Maester. I mean, I like this as a character move for Sam, that he's like learning to be a healer, and he's dealt with the shit, so he can deal with this, and he's becoming more like Maester Aemon.
Sam has been being pretty fucking rebellious. He's like banging chicks, stealing his dad's Valyrian steel sword.
Did he steal his sword?
He stole Bright Roar.
Oh, yeah.
Or not Bright Roar. Oh, no, it is Bright Roar. Right?
Yeah.
He stole it.
No, it's not Bright Roar. It's Heartsbane.
Heartsbane, yeah. Bright Roar is the Lannister one that's lost.
It sounds like something from Harry Potter, honestly.
Sometimes it is. And then coming into the Citadel and being like, fuck it, if they won't let me, I'm going to steal the key and find the secret information. Straight up tell the maester that I've been reading about the secret information. And he says, no, that's why the book is banned, because the guy died of grayscale trying to do this shit. And then when Sam's like drinking the rum, he gives him the rum and then he drinks the rum right after. And it's like, you fucking idiot. If you die of grayscale because you're like swapping.
He's probably like, whatever. At this point, the world's going to end anyways. I'm just going to help him.
Yeah. Sam is not a coward.
No. And it also just does kind of show how little play the dragon scale has gotten in like a constructive way. Like, it's interesting in the books when you consider that John Conn's plan is tied to the fact that his life has, is very finite
timer on it. Yeah.
And somebody with that outlook, looking at the Game of Thrones, but we never really get anything from Jorah's point of view. I feel like Jorah is just such kind of so separated from the audience of like, well, I mean, I personally say I don't give a fuck about Jorah.
There was a note that he was writing that said,
Khaleesi, please.
And I want to see what it said.
It was pathetic.
Yeah, I'm sure it was really bad.
I got grayscale and I'm sad, but I still love you. I touched you, by the way. You should get yourself checked. I knew I had grayscale. I touched you anyways. Sorry. Khaleesi. Sorry.
I meant the Citadel. It is grayscale.
Hit me up. If you want, don't burn Citadel. Please, Khaleesi. Yeah.
So the cut is from him cutting the wound, which I thought it was just peeling the skin, and then that like nasty pus starts coming out.
Oh, it's bad. It's so gross.
And then it cuts to the pie made by our best friend and
pies that are warm.
2-time special guest star cameo hot pie.
And I mean, I'm fine with them bringing back hot pie to tell Arya, like, your family is alive.
Yeah. And he's, like, doing fine. This kid is still alive.
But, like, how did Arya not hear from, like, the Ed Sheeran guys? Or, like, did she just not ask?
About what was happening in the north?
Yeah, about, like, what was happening at all. Like,
she was trying to...
What's word of the wall?
Yeah. Like, trying to pretend that she's the Stark, I think, was part of it.
Yeah, but she's smart enough by now to like be able to
she's
attempt some subterfuge.
Faceless man who posed as Walter Frey for 2 fucking weeks.
So let's just knock down both Arya scenes right here. She talks to Hot Pie, it's fine. It's and then she runs into Nymeria.
Oh yeah.
And then we have the more esoteric scenes of Game of Thrones. Mm-hmm. There's not a totally obvious what the meaning here is. Except for maybe that they've grown apart so much.
Yeah, Nymeria has her own family too. You kind of really feel bad for Arya. That, you're not going to go back to your pack. Your original family you're not getting your original family back.
It just kind of shows how these circumstances have changed for all of them.
Yeah,
but
you can't get it was a puppy.
It really does kind of... beg the question of, does Arya even warg at all? Because wouldn't she have known about Nymeria?
Like, heard rumors of how big she is?
I mean, like, wouldn't she have wolf dreams? Like, does she in the show?
Oh, she doesn't in the show. No.
Okay.
Yeah, all the Starks are wargs in the book, confirmed. She's not a warg. She's definitely a warg in the book, confirmed, and she even wargs a cat once, or skin changes a cat, not wargs.
It's warging, isn't it?
It's warging when it's a dog.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's specific to dogs?
Yeah, I think that
So Sansa's going to be skin changing into birds?
Yeah. Lady. Little bird.
Ladle bird?
No. I think I talked about that with somebody maybe a long time ago. If that everyone had their nickname based on what they could work into.
Well, yeah, she's Little Bird because she's gonna work into birds. Also, because she's like the little mockingbird because of what's his name, Littlefinger.
Oh yeah.
So yeah.
And Arya Sports face because she's gonna change into a horse.
You're not supposed to skin change into stuff that doesn't kill other stuff because then you'll become a sissy.
Yeah.
Horse are prey. You can't become horse. They say that in I think it's the first chapter of the fifth one. I think the Varamir six skins or whatever. However many. Skins
you're not supposed
chapter.
to eat the flesh of other animals while you're.
Unless you want their power.
But we don't know how much of what Varamir or the Three-Eyed Crow say is stuff to keep you from doing shit that they don't want you to get the power of, or to. Well,
Varamir's chapter is very much about
from him. You hear it from him.
The rules that he's broken in his life,
right?
That he doesn't. That he's just like, I don't give a fuck, and now he's like, well, I got some stuff for that.
Sometimes the shit that. Like the Three-Eyed Crow fed Bran seemed like bullshit. Like that he can't affect the past, obviously.
Yeah, it's like,
in the show,
Bran can. The Bran man can.
And he whispers through the trees to Theon.
It's actually going to be like it was all a dream. And in the last episode, Bran's going to go back and tell Ned, he's like, don't trust Littlefinger. and then season one's just going to end with Ned going back to Winterfell, living with everybody, Cersei and his dad. And everybody's happy.
Bran's coma dream. Wasn't there some like 80s TV sitcom that was all dream?
Yeah, I don't remember what it's called. It's a boy whose dream was the entire.
Yeah, like that's famously
famously hated by people. Yeah, it's gonna be like that.
So let's. I don't know if we stepped out to talk about Arya and Nymeria.
So then we got to go back to Winterfell, which is what happened.
The crypt now.
No, first we're
we still haven't gone to...
John gets the letter from Sam. Who John also forgot that Stannis said this about Dragonstone.
Yep. Hey, but now it's confirmed.
So yeah, John comes out and he says, all right, this is what needs to happen. And then he's telling everybody, he's like, we got to do it because the White Walkers. And everybody else is like, this is a dumb idea. And John's like, no, it's not because White Walkers.
Only a king can go to answer a queen's,
what? I get that Sansa doesn't think it's a good idea, but I feel like it would have made more sense for Sansa to be like, I will be your envoy. I don't think you should go, but I think it's so strongly that I will go with Davos and
that
Brienne.
would have been cool.
Yeah, and I think...
And Dany would have respected that a lot, too.
Yeah, Sansa Dany would have been a really interesting scene of, then they would have actually had to talk about, what's going on in the war.
It's kind of like how Kat went to talk to Renly.
Yeah.
Because it would be dumb for Robb to.
Exactly. No. And so John, who doesn't do things that are smart, he does dumb things that are dumb. So he's going. It's one of those respectable John moments where it's like, oh, John's being dumb because he's trying to do the right thing. Okay.
Yeah, and even Lyanna Mormont is like, we need you in the North. We've elected you King of the North.
And then John is like, oh my God, I'm so afraid that she's going to beat me up. I better listen to her.
The King in the North. The King in the North.
Sucks.
The King in Dragonstone.
Sucks.
The King in Dragonstone. The King heading south. So, we get the departure scene. Well, we have the crypt scene first, but the way that he glosses it over with Sansa and allays her fears is by saying, oh, you're gonna be in charge, and then Sansa's like, oh, and then she winks at Littlefinger.
Brian gets her one moment of acting in the last two seasons. Brian's like, Brian is happy about this. Brian likes this Facebook post,
and Sansa immediately looks at Littlefinger after she hears that, and he's like,
yeah, it's now we're might actually get a story that makes sense between Littlefinger and Sansa, because we get this next scene where Littlefinger's like, I'm creeping on your sister, and John's like, I'm gonna choke you because that's weird.
Yeah.
That scene just makes no sense. John should feel indebted to Littlefinger. Nobody feels like having armies or feeding them or having help is important. Why aren't they talking about how are we going to feed all these people? Blah, blah, blah. What are we going to do about these? Where are they going to live? What do they get for helping us?
They talked about it at the wall before John got shanked. when the wildlings were going to come over, they talked about it.
Yeah, like
legitimately had that conversation because it's important.
But at Winterfell, like, it hasn't been had at all, and there should be a struggle of power between Littlefinger, except for Littlefinger just keeps like talking to Stark Kids, and Stark Kids are like, "Oh, you're gonna say something clever? I'm gonna choke you or get the fuck out of here!"
He's definitely seems to have outlived his usefulness.
Like, yeah, why is he not like actually threatening them with like, "Okay, I'm gonna leave then. Like, fuck you guys." Like, it just doesn't make
instead of like
his interactions with Jon here don't
skulking
make any sense.
Around in the crypts, not saying anything about Lyanna, which was what the tease was. We all thought that when Jon finally went down there and caught Littlefinger, he would say something because he almost accidentally told Sansa about Rhaegar and Lyanna.
I like to think that he's just not telling them on purpose, or he was going to tell Jon, and then he's like, "Well, not if you choke me, I'm not going to tell you."
Yeah. But, like, yeah, he seems to have a very... Yeah, I guess we don't know what he's thinking yet, because he hasn't had a long enough talk, because Sansa cut him off and called him clever last time they talked.
Clever! I love it. I'm sure it was something clever.
Yeah, I mean, we know that... Well, I'm just glad Arya's coming to protect Sansa.
I'm down for some Arya Sansa. That's one of the reunions I'm most looking forward to in the books. So
unless Bran comes and like no one answers the door because somebody wasn't on watch at the right time and he thinks everyone's gone.
I just don't give a fuck about Bran anymore in the show at all. I don't care.
How is he gonna? I'm guessing, since he's well known as a Northern Lord's son, now that they believe him, he's gonna get a ride down.
Probably.
He has to get a ride down.
I don't fucking know, dude.
It doesn't.
If all the Starks are together.
With the show now, he doesn't need a ride down. That he can just show up.
Yeah, he teleports.
Yeah,
I love it.
And I'm just fine. I'm fine with that.
I'm level 7 now. That means I teleport.
Yeah.
Level 7, 3-eyed crow raven.
And Mir follows in my work bubble. So, okay, Littlefinger gets choked, and then as Jon walks away, he starts smiling. Like, I'm glad he choked me, now I don't feel bad. Or something.
They're just gonna show that he's still mischievous.
He's still schmuck. And then in the departure scene, like, Sansa looks like happy that he's going almost in a way.
She probably is. Like, oh great, he's not gonna be actively fucking up my life anymore.
Yeah. But she also, I've noticed it, and I think it's just like her acting style or whatever, and her PTSD, and that she's under a lot of stress. But I feel like she looks like she's on drugs all the time.
No, like
that's she was very when Littlefinger was trying to talk to her. She seemed really listless. Like, I'm happy.
No, I think that's just how Sophie Turner was getting through the days. So she's like, "Oh my god, I can't believe this show is still going. It's so fucking stupid. I just want to make more X-Men movies. God damn it."
My American accent is getting so good.
So she just smoked a bunch of weed.
My American accent.
She was tripping on acid for like half of the episodes.
She kind of looks like she is staring at them leaving. Like, she looks like she's on something, I swear. I'll put a picture up on the screen during the video.
I mean, I feel like this also kind of shows how shallow the interactions in the show are. It's like, yeah, we got the first Stark reunion is being broken up now, and I feel nothing.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, wow, they were really great together. It's like, wow, they really didn't get along at all. Which, I mean, you know, I could buy that being part of the story, but I feel like they're really trying to sell the bittersweetness of this, too. It's like, who cares?
I think, yeah, there wasn't enough King in the North, Queen in the North, like, conflict while he was there. I feel like Littlefinger should have been telling Sansa that she should be Queen in the North. He was kind of almost saying it, but he was getting cut off, and it didn't seem to, like, click with her. And Jon doesn't seem to...
They should actually be talking about issues instead of, like, skirting around them, not talking about them, because there's not that much show left. Like, you actually have to fucking do something. You can't just allude to stuff that they talk about. It's stupid.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, Littlefinger again. I think he's the last thing we see before we cut out on that scene. Him looking like smug
because Littlefinger got Littlefinger.
Yeah,
because you might wonder, like, is he just suck now? Like, is he the worst?
And if I were Sansa, I would be a little. I would want it in writing that I'm John's heir. You know. And now we're gonna have like if Bran shows up right then, and then Jon goes missing, like she's gonna not ever get to be Queen in the North, even though she might. She'll never get to be acting Queen in the North because Bran did run Winterfell for a while.
Yeah, but Bran's probably like, yeah, but I can't be leader because I gotta sit in a tree all day.
Yeah,
I got shit to do. I gotta change the past.
He's a gimp. There was like a lot, even in like ancient, like not only in Westeros but in the Middle Ages, if somebody was like for some reason messed up, like if they were a dwarf or they'd actually be killed a lot. But they wouldn't get to be the heir, especially if they couldn't procreate, which I guess, yeah, it would be the case for Bran.
Yeah.
Because he couldn't have an heir. But anyway, all right, I guess...
So update on Bran's dick, everybody. Doesn't work.
Yeah, still doesn't work.
So, is that everything at Winterfell?
That's everything at Winterfell.
So then the Arya and Nymeria scene happens, and then we get the last episode, which is first shock in the war of Dany being in Westeros, which is really dumb. I didn't like it. What bothers me so much about this scene is that the Sand Snakes suck because they're really bad at writing female characters. Like, they don't understand that women are people. And, like, they're like, okay, they're gonna be snarky. So they just all get killed really gratuitously. Like, the audience, I feel like they're playing it up so the audience enjoys it.
And they were making the dialogue mockingly bad, too. They were like, Mama likes me better. Mama. Like at one point I was watching it with subtitles and it said mama like 3 times in a row, talking about their different mamas. My mama's better. Like, cause only Tyene is Illyria's kid in the show. So they're talking about, I don't know.
And Tyene she doesn't die in this scene, right? She just gets taken.
She doesn't die.
Yeah.
She has long hair.
There's some real weird cutting in between like Tyene and the other 2 Sand Snakes, like while they're fighting, and they'd cut between Theon and Yara too, of like, oh, look at them, they fight similarly because they're like siblings and stuff, and they're really trying to do something. It's like we're trying to avoid the fact that the cutting is terrible. The editing makes everything look like such shit. And everything that you can't see because it's dark, everything else you can't see because the editing is awful. And I just, I don't understand. I have so much trouble with like, okay, the ships with the Greyjoys, they just crashed into each other because...
There didn't need to be like 50 meteors shooting by every second too.
What are they shooting? Where are these fire bolts coming from?
Yeah, I don't know.
Maybe
they're like not ballistas.
Maybe they are flaming ballistas, the catapults.
Yeah,
I don't think so because it was like, remember, it was like a
rod of. Yeah.
Maybe they did pick it up from
because they were not flaming. They picked it up from Qyburn already.
Yeah,
they weren't flaming arrows.
Maybe they got it from Qyburn before they left.
Oh,
I don't know. Yeah, it was. What is that though? But it's also just how do these 2 ships?
I kept thinking it was the dragons showed up and it was like dragon flame or something.
How are these 2 ships in the middle of the fucking like? All right, if you want this to be the scene, start the battle scene in the middle of the episode. Have them fighting, have them kicking ass. Have some scene where Yara does something and is successful.
Yeah, and
then let the Sand Snakes have some success, other than fighting a cripple and not killing him. Like fighting left-handed Jaime Lannister, not being able to kill him. Like the Sand Snakes are never put in a position where they can do anything cool, and they're just kind of killed off. It's like, yeah, because women suck. And look at Euron and Euron's making all these noises in this episode.
He's half Victorian, Victorian,
Victory Bell,
Yorion.
Yeah.
But I think he crashed on the mountain. It's like almost
it's the Fire Nation ship. It drops down.
The top drops down. He's like standing on it when it drops down. He's like,
and it still takes him so long to get to like where Yara is, but like have it start where they get to kick ass and then they run into Euron's ship. Don't make it seem like they just crash into each other by chance.
We love to see them from far away. Like all I can think is that Euron came. Well, they were definitely caught unaware. all I can think of is that Euron saw them and was like, oh, they don't see me. Stuck up, like saw her ship because he would know which one, and boarded it. That's what it seems like, but they should have shown it from the other point of view too, because otherwise it really just felt like, oh, it's so stormy, no one could see anything. No one was watching at all in our whole fleet. And who's in the back shooting these fucking things, and who are they aiming at? It was just like...
It was just one of Dany's dragons Spitfire like 2 hours ago, and it was just traveling over the water in a straight line. And then there were, so they like Euron was also like, whoa, where'd that fire come from?
It almost reminds me of like the in the Star Wars prequels in the gladiator scene where they're in front of like that whole crowd and like 50 Jedi come out. And, like, for no reason, there's 50 Jedi, and there's just laser bolts going everywhere. So it's, like, almost distracting from the main... I think that's part of it. It's distracting from the main,
you can't follow anything. It's just, like, there's so much happening.
Yeah. So...
But Theon, when the chips are down, can't do it. He can fight, and he's doing sword stuff, but then when it comes to actually, like, facing Euron and, like, saving Yara, he can't do it.
Come on, little nephew.
And I saw I saw a tweet the other day that was like, oh man, good on Game of Thrones for showing that Theon still got his issues, like, you know, that kind of like pain and like that being broken, you know, it doesn't just fix overnight. It's like, all right, listen, we've been watching Theon getting fucking tortured and shit. We watched that for like 2.5 seasons. Like, I don't think it's unreasonable for people that like the show to be like wanting Theon to actually be a hero now. Like, it's fun. Like, I'm not taking issue with it. Like that. Like, okay, fine. Theon's journey is still not complete.
I mean, he probably saved he definitely saved his life. and I cannot believe that Euron wasn't like, hey, get him.
Yeah, like how did he get away? The scene, I can't wait to make that gif of just Theon jumping off the boat, because he doesn't even dive, he just jumps. It's great. It's like, all right, I'm out.
Like the Tommen jump.
But yeah, I'm fine with that as a choice for the show. I just wish that people weren't gatekeeping, like, this is why the show is good. It's like, no, it's not.
Yeah, the look on the more of the playing off Alfie Allen's. I didn't even go to
He's
the.
He's got to shake. He's got to do his shaking.
Yeah, and like a tear come from one eye and twitch a little bit.
I don't think that is a little on the nose. I feel like he could have just jumped off the boat. We didn't need to see his face doing the thing. Like, this isn't like War for the Planet of the Apes.
This is how I felt when Sansa got raped.
Oh my god. In War for the Planet of the Apes, when characters interact with each other, it takes like 1 full minute for characters to like do one emotion between them. Game of Thrones is like the opposite of that. It's like every emotion, 20 seconds. Oh my god. But yeah, I mean, it really just it shows the shallowness of the show and the directionlessness in the past of like, oh, why did the Sand Snakes get so much screen time? Why were they even in the fucking story? Like, it just becomes so obvious that, you know, the hierarchy of who's important is so fucking obvious. Like, Euron wasn't important last season, so they just made him look like his character introduction is we stole all of his ships and made him look like a bitch in front of the entire King's Moot. And then everybody in the Iron Islands, like, is fine with taking this bitch for their king. It's like, the Iron Island's not full of people. It's just like, oh, it's there. It's fine. And so when you get this nonsense with their ships clashing and it's like, oh, the Sand Snakes are dumb. They're these dumb women. So they get killed. And it's like Euron's all of a sudden a badass and is better than Yara.
It was like Dave and Dan were like, okay, season 6, let's do the Iron Islands plotline that we've skipped. Because we already, that was like after season 4, they were like, let's do Dorne.
Oh, yeah. Dorne's hot right now because Oberyn.
And then after that,
that was definitely their decision making. Is people like Oberyn, so let's do Dorne before we do Iron Islands. Yeah, and they just fucked both of them up completely.
And Balin was gone for 5 seasons, and then all of a sudden gets a death
comes back and gets killed. Yeah, it's just like Walder Frey. It's like he was gone for 2 seasons, then he comes back and gets killed. It's like, oh yeah, I was really needing this.
So should we try to do some predictions?
Sure. I'm
assuming those were all your final thoughts for the week.
Yep, that's all the rage that I have inside me.
That was some pretty good rage. It's right up there.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah,
I predict that Danny and John will have dumbass bullshit like differences between them when they first meet, but then they'll make it better with banging. Or she might send John away to go on a mission before he bangs.
yeah, that sounds about right. He's got to earn it. What's the mission?
I don't know. I don't know.
He's got to prove it to her that there are really others.
The other thing I wanted to say was just like, oh yeah, and then the thing that happens at the end of the boat is like, then Theon gets to be more important than Yara again. And the end of the scene is no longer about Yara. Like, Yara just gets captured. It's like, oh, what will Theon do? Because Theon's always been way more important. They couldn't even pretend that Yara was more important for like 2 episodes.
Yeah. And she didn't even get to complete her sex scene.
No, and she never gets to be like smart or like knowledgeable in the show. Like in the book, she's one of the only people from the Iron Islands who has like thoughts about
and she
life.
Tries to save Theon a lot.
Yeah.
And is smarter than him.
And in the show, it's just like, no, Theon's the golden boy.
So
Theon's gonna... Where is he gonna end up?
Oh, do we see him grab onto something?
Yeah, he's like on a pad, like a wood, and he like on a thing of
like
wood,
floating.
and he's floating, and
so he'll probably get picked up. Maybe he'll make it back to Khaleesi somehow. I'm gonna assume he'll wash back up and be like,
maybe Jon will try to kill him.
Everyone got killed except for me.
I would like Theon and Jon to meet. That'd be cool.
I think they are. Oh, yeah. I think they are going to. What if Theon washes up right when Jon shows up? So
that would throw a wrench in their banging.
Yeah, but it totally makes sense. And I think that they are supposed to have a reunion. So
what do you think, Arya Sansa's? What is going to happen there?
I think Arya arrives. Do you think Bran and Arya can arrive in the same episode and they get it all at once?
Maybe they like miss each other again.
Yeah, I feel like that's already been done so many fucking times for Arya.
Arya should just never meet any other Starks.
I mean, she's definitely gonna hear about missing Jon and be really sad, and then maybe her and Sansa, and then right then is when she sees Sansa, so it kind of distracts from that sadness a little bit.
Yeah, she'll be happy to see Sansa.
I think Bran will take a little longer, although he should be quicker, really, if he's being pulled on a wagon. If she's galloping on horseback. Yeah, she's on a horse.
She could probably travel faster than Bran.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, so, she shows up first. Bran comes, like, one season later.
Who has the Moat of Caelin right now? I'm assuming someone in the north does, right?
I think so.
Because they haven't had it before, but...
Yeah, they haven't talked about it. Let's just assume it's a northern.
Arya's still in the Riverlands, like still.
Yeah, she has to come back up. Yeah, at least she did not go to King's Landing. Even though that's what she told those guys that she was going to do.
I don't know, Arya being in the middle of that siege, that might be cool. I don't know.
Wait, what siege?
Well, the siege that will happen when Dany besieges King's Landing.
Oh, yeah. Oh, God, of course. Ends up right outside of King's Landing, like in a siege.
But then maybe she could, like, insert herself into the conflict and pick a side and actually, like, do something, but...
Yeah.
I don't know.
It really seems like she's wasted her Faceless Man powers.
She's so wasted as a character. Like, okay, she killed all the Freys. It's like, alright. Now what? It's like... Yeah. She's checking up on Hot Pie.
Yeah, instead of having like an arc for her, it seems like it's like scrambling. And every time that she kills somebody, it's like no planning went into it.
Like they needed to kill this. It's like, why don't we get to see Arya plan one of her heists, one of her awesome things? You know, we don't really get that. We just get to see the end of it, where it's like it was Arya all along.
Yeah,
Arya was Jaime all along this season, just waiting to kill Cersei. I mean, she's still doing her list, and so this is the first time that she's actually not been all about the list for a while. So
seeing Nymeria made her go north, and seeing Hot Pie.
She was already going north. Hot Pie was when when she tells the audience that she is in fact going north.
Oh, okay. Come on, girl, I'm going home. Come on, girl, come with me. It can be like before. No, it can't be like before.
It would have been nice if we heard about Nymeria at all in the show.
Yeah.
It
Like
would have been cool.
rumors of
Just anything.
Yeah.
Just fucking anything.
it was like it's such a tease to have it in for one episode and them not do anything, them just show up.
Yeah.
And I heard that Maisie actually shot in like Canada with the wolves.
With the green screen Muppets.
No, with actual wolves.
What?
Yeah.
It's like the scene in Pop Star where
Yeah. And I don't think
Saber tries
she
to
didn't
propose.
shoot with they didn't do like a tilt pitch or they didn't shoot with Nymeria, but with a lot of the other wolves or some of them, I guess.
Real wolves, huh?
That's what she was at.
They're just throwing all kinds of money at Arya.
She was at the studio, and there was supposedly a ghost scene that was cut, where they were going to show a ghost.
Cut bullshit. They just didn't animate it.
Or a claymation ghost.
The ghost is going to get his own like Wallace and Gromit type claymation series after this.
That's why Ghost hasn't been in the show. They're trying to starve up the demand for him so that he can have his own spin-off.
Well, I think that
maybe if he dies, it can be all of the ghosts of the dire wolves can have a spin-off.
Cersei will smugly execute Ilaria and Tyene and then not Yara for some reason.
Yeah.
So Theon can have something to do.
She'll keep Yara as, she won't. Yeah. To bug Theon. Yeah. So you try to lure Theon.
Or maybe she'll like kill Tyene and make Ilaria watch or something as like, this is for my daughter.
Yeah. Or you're too good to be kept alive and like give her to the Franken Mountain and do a shame thing. You can't do a shame thing on her because she wasn't there for that. Yeah, who knows what Cersei will do? I mean, it's not. You don't really want to be Tyene or Ilaria or Yara like coming in there. But Yara has no. Cersei really should have nothing against Yara.
I mean, except for she's not on her side, so that's enough.
I know, but Yara like escaped from Euron. And yeah, I guess if she teams up with the Dragon Queen, if Cersei was capable of like, imagine if Cersei like got Yara to flip back away from Daenerys and said, "Listen, like, give your brother back the ships, some of the ships." Like, I don't know. That's not going to happen because Cersei does not see the world that way.
No.
But I feel like Cersei really needs to like work with what she has, not like execute people, you know?
Jamie's so dumb.
Maybe Cersei could hold. Unfortunately, Ilaria is supposedly ruling Dorne right now, so having her as a hostage isn't very useful because are the High Lords of Dorne like following what she's doing? Do they even care?
We don't know.
They're gonna be happy. Those guys will be happy that Ilaria gets taken by Cersei.
Cersei's situation is just so fucked, and it's just like, why is Jaime okay with this?
Well, Jaime...
Let's build a dynasty for us.
Yeah, so the Tarleys are going to take the High Garden, right?
I guess.
That's what they wanted
That's
to
what
do.
we're led to believe.
Yeah. And so Jaime and Randall are going to go and do that. So I guess Randall's going to be on the wrong side again in this battle.
Probably.
It seems like that's his lot in life, even though he's the best commander.
Just to suck.
The only one who beat Robert. Yeah, so that's what we see. That was all over the place, that prediction, but we kind of hit every plot line pretty much, I think.
Yep. I think the White Walkers will continue to be inconsequential.
Jorah will come out of his Bacta tank and he'll be completely like, he'll have a six-pack.
He'll be really jacked, yeah.
Yeah.
He'll be ready to be the Hulk.
Not the Thing. Or what's that rock monster?
Rock monster.
Oh, that is
an
the
ability
thing.
to be an invisible person.
No, that is isn't the
rock
thing.
monster and ability to be invisible person are the two members of the Fantastic Four you're thinking about.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, the Thing. All right. Well, that was stupid and dumb, and I hate Game of Thrones. I hate it.
I gave
sucks.
I liked it. I'm gonna give it. I'm giving it a 7.
I'm giving it a.
I give it 7 out of 10. Second watch through. 4.5 first watch through.
I give it a screaming noise.
I haven't. Yeah, we got the screaming noise there. I have not. I haven't talked to many other people about it, so I didn't get a consensus for like the people who I know in real life, really what they thought. But hearing the reviews online, a lot of people liked it more than me.
Yeah, me and Serena didn't like it, but that's no surprise.
Yeah, I didn't. Jolene didn't like it either, but we didn't have a like in-depth conversation about it. And we're gonna probably watch it again because I told her the second time it was good, and so she will have to watch it again.
I'm gonna watch every Paul Thomas Anderson movie again instead.
Who is that? The brick guy?
No, that's Ryan Johnson. Paul Thomas Anderson did There Will Be Blood and The Master and Inherent Vice and Magnolia and Punch Drunk Love.
Oh, okay.
He's like the greatest American director of all time ever.
I've heard that about him.
He's amazing.
I've heard that about him.
Incredible.
He's won lots of the Emmys. Grammys, I mean.
Yeah.
No, Oscars.
Yeah.
All right.